This Faith Thing, episode 58.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is trusting in God with all your heart. Faith is knowing that all things are possible with God, that nothing is too difficult for God to do. This faith thing can be easy when we have God on our side. Faith is the word of God.
Welcome back for another episode. There are three parts to your income. God's part, which we call your tithes, the government's part or Uncle Sam's part, which is called taxes, and your savings. You have to divide your income into three separate parts. God's part, Uncle Sam's part, and your savings. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be the Most High God, which had delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. The obligation of giving tithes has been around even before the dispensation of the law. Your tithe is 10% or a tenth of your earnings before taxes, not after taxes. In the brief story that we just read, we see that Abram has just returned from defeating the kings and his allies. And then the king of Sodom came out and he came to greet him in the valley. And the king of Salem, Melchizedek, brought out bread and wine and he blessed him. And Abram gave him a tenth of all that he recovered. And if you read the story further, you will see that the king of Sodom said to Abram that give me back the people, but keep all the plunder for yourself. But Abram said to him, he told the king that he will not take anything, not even a shoestring, because he did not want him going around telling people that he's the one that made Abram rich. Even before the law was given, Abram was a tither. As a child of God, you are to go to God and give God everything that is owed to God. When you work, your job is to deduct the exact amount that is meant for God. You are not supposed to use it to pay your bills or buy anything, but give it straight to God. You work from 9 to 5, 7 days a week, and you make your money to pay your bills of bill collectors, of creditors that have no blessings for you at the end of the day. But when it comes time to give God his portion, you become very stingy. You hold your fist very tight, not wanting to release what is meant for God. When you obey the commands of God, when you obey spiritual principles, you are not only helping yourself, friends, but you're helping your generations to come. You settle everything for generations to come, for your entire family. If you want to be wealthy, you must know how to manage your income. You must know how to divide your income properly in order for you to be blessed accordingly. In the book of Proverbs 21 verse 20, it says that there is a treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. A foolish man spends what is not his. A foolish man spends the money that does not belong to him. You cannot go to God saying you want to be rich, but you don't follow his rules, friends. You can't pray that you want to be rich, that you want to be wealthy, but you're not a tither. Remember, God says that if you don't tithe, if you don't pay your tithes, you are robbing him. But if you do, that he will bless you to the point that he will bless you that you will not be able to contain it. It's conditional. You must obey God's word before he sends down his blessing. You cannot afford to spend your tithe. I said it yesterday that if you spend your tithe on something else, you better believe that it will come out of your pocket some way, somehow. When you go back to your checkbook, when you go back to your accounts and you're trying to balance it out, you'll find out that the money has been spent. Sometimes you may not even know how the money has been spent. That's why you need to take the tenth of your earnings and set it aside. You cannot spend, you cannot even afford to spend what belongs to God. If you have a job and you're earning $1,000 every 2 weeks, you should know at the back of your mind that 100 goes straight to God. You shouldn't even consider the 100. You should just have it in your mind that you're earning $900, £900, whatever the case may be. Friends, you cannot afford to spend what belongs to God. Not for any reason at all. The book of Galatians 3:13 and 14 says that Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree, that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Jesus Christ, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. That the blessing of Abraham might be ours. That is what we pray for ourselves, that blessings of Abraham, that it will be ours. We sing the song that Abraham's blessings are mine. You cannot sing the song Abraham's blessings are mine if you don't understand how Abraham got the blessings in the first place. Abraham followed spiritual principles. Even before the law came down, Abraham was a tither. He was giving what was due to God. To God, he told the king, I don't want anything from you, not even a shoestring, not even a pin. I don't want you saying that you've made me rich. Let me give my tenth to God. Abraham was a tither. He did what he was supposed to do. He paid his tithes, friends. He paid them. He never once said that, oh, because someone is going to spend it incorrectly. He paid his tithes the way he was supposed to pay his tithes. And God was watching him. God was watching him. That this young man is doing what he's supposed to do, even without me commanding him to do it. He gave God all that belonged to God, not keeping any of it. If you keep singing the song that Abraham's blessings are yours, you must be doing what Abraham was doing, which is paying his tithes. Abraham paid his tithes. He wasn't paying it partially. Some people pay their tithes partially. That is not the command of God. Cannot expect that God will bless you if you're paying your tithes partially and say, oh, I gave him partially. I gave him 50% of it. It doesn't work that way. In Genesis 14 that we read, we saw that Abraham was a tither. Not only was he a tither, but he was a faithful tither. Every and any increase that you have, friends, you must pay tithes on it. If you have a business, you must pay tithes on the business. It has nothing to do with your personal income. You must give God your best, and you must give it to him cheerfully with gladness in your heart. As a tither, God will open up the windows of heaven over you. It will open because that's what God said he will do. God is not a man that he should lie, friends. God is not going to tell you that he's going to open up the windows of heaven over you if you pay your tithes, and when you pay your tithes, he doesn't do so. God doesn't do that. I've said it some time ago. God never says, oops. He never says, my bad. He never says, I didn't mean to say it, or I didn't mean to say that. It was a slip of tongue. You will never hear that coming from God. Whatever God says that he's going to do, he is going to do. None of his words will return back to him void. He has already promised us that when we pay our tithes, when we do what he instructs us to do, that the windows of heaven will open unto us. Not only will they open up, the blessings will come down. Not only that the blessings will come down, the blessings will come down into a point that you will not be able to contain it. I said it yesterday, you will have to grab buckets upon buckets because it will overflow into your life. But you have to follow this spiritual principle first. When I was 16 years old, I got my first job, and my parents sat me down and taught me what it meant to be a tither. Granted, I was still very young. I was only 16, and I really didn't understand what tithing meant. I understood it because my parents were talking to me about it, and I didn't really know God the way I know God now. I went to church, I prayed, but I wasn't a believer the way I'm a believer now. But I believed my parents, and I believed that my parents were telling me the truth. I believed them like no man's business. I believed everything that they told me. And they told me that this is what a child of God does. When you have an increase, financial increase, you are to take what belongs to God out first and give it to God. So they taught me that every 2 weeks when I received my paycheck, that I need to look at the paycheck and know what a tenth of that is, 10%, and it belongs to God. And every 2 weeks from that time, I began to pay my tithes. Anytime I held summer jobs, anytime I got a full-time job, from one job to the next, I was a tither. I am a tither because my Bible teaches me that that is what I need to do. You cannot even afford to take 1 penny off of your tithes, friends. That is incomplete. If you're making $1,000, $100 belongs to God, not 99, not even 99.9. 100, the complete 100. It belongs to God. When you pay your tithes, it brings blessings, it brings favor, it brings mercies. It brings it in places and areas of your life where you don't even deserve it. In Genesis 28 verses 11 through 22, we read a story of Isaac. Isaac, when he was speaking to his son Jacob, he told Jacob not to marry from the land of Canaan, but that he should go back to his mother's land, go back to Laban and pick a daughter from Laban's daughters. who is his mother's brother. And Jacob did exactly what his father told him to do. And when he arrived into the city of Haran, he stayed there the night. He passed the night in that city, and he took stones. He took the stones and he placed his head on the stones, and he fell asleep. And as he fell asleep, he had a dream. And in this dream, God showed him a ladder that was from the earth, that came from earth, that reached all the way to heaven. And at the tip of the ladder, at the top of the ladder, he saw the Lord standing there above it, telling him that he is the God of his father Abraham and Isaac, that he will give him the land where he laid to him and to his seed, that his seed will be like the dust of the earth, spreading abroad to the west, the east, the north, and south, and that they will be blessed. God promised him that they will be blessed and that he was with them. And Jacob, he woke up from his sleep and he was assured that God was with him. And in verses 18 through 22, let's even read it. It says, and Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillow, and he set it up for an altar and poured oil upon it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God, and this stone, which I have set for a pillar, shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. Jacob vowed that he will give his tithes. Jacob vowed, he's saying to God that, God, if you really bless me the way you say you're going to bless me, if you make my children as the dust of the earth, how many people can stand and be counting the dust of the earth and be counting, and no man can do that. God is telling him, as you cannot even count the dust, so will I do for you. That's how your children will be scattered everywhere, east, west, south, north, everywhere. If you're telling me that you're going to do this for me, God, I will give you my tithes. Giving your tithes, friends, paying your tithes, there are benefits to paying it. I don't understand the mentality of people who say that I cannot give my tithes to this church because of X, Y, and Z. What is your business with that? What is your concern with that? They're going to pay bills in the church. They're going to pay the pastor. They're going to pay people who work in the church. That's not your business. Your business is to pay your tithes, because the Bible in Malachi 3 tells us that when you pay your tithes, God will send down his blessings to you. If you really wanted his blessings, then you will follow the instructions from God, because no pastor on earth wrote that Bible. The Bible comes from God. The words of the Bible come from God. And God is telling you that if you do what I'm telling you to do, I will bless you. Which person in this life does not want to be blessed? I have yet to meet that type of person who just does not want to be blessed. Do what God is asking you to do, friends. Do what he's telling you to do. He's telling you, do what I'm telling you to do. Pay your tithes and I'm going to bless you. That alone should make you want to pay your tithes. Leviticus 27:30 says that, and all the tithes of the land, whether of the seed of the land or the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. It is holy unto the Lord. It says it here that it is the Lord's, not yours. You don't decide where you put your tithes. You don't decide. You don't make the decisions, and you cannot go to God. Who are you to go to God and tell God what you want to do with your tithes? He's telling you what to do with it. God tells you, he instructs you what to do with your tithes. He says, bring it into my storehouse that there may be meat, that there may be food. Your blessings, your spiritual blessings may be there, friends. You cannot afford to ration your tithes. You cannot afford to divide it up into little pieces and chunks. Who do you think you're working with? This is God that we're talking about, friends. You cannot deal with God the same way that you deal with man. You can't say, oh, here, God, take $1 here, take £1 here, take $3 here, take £3 here. It doesn't work that way. You have to give God what is God's, friends. If you can afford to give Uncle Sam his taxes, then you can afford to give God his money. Because we all know that if you don't pay Uncle Sam your taxes, they will hunt you down like a thief. They will hunt you all the way down. They will find you in the depths of your jungle, in the depths of your village to get their money. So why do you have to do this to God? Why must you make God chase you and chase you and chase you when what his words tell you is blessings for you, that he will rebuke the devourer for your sake? Friends, the curse of Malachi 3:9 is real. It says that if you don't pay your tithes, a curse is upon you. I'm not cursing you. I don't ever want to curse anybody, but I'm just teaching you what the Bible says. The Bible says that ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me. Why would you want to be a robber? Don't rob God, friends. Pay your tithes. Some say because we're under grace that we don't have to pay tithes. There is nowhere in the New Testament. There are a lot of scholars, Bible scholars, that tell you that the New Testament does not say that you need to pay tithes. It doesn't mandate that you need to pay tithes. Well, if it doesn't mandate that we don't need to pay tithes, does it tell us that we should pay tithes? If it doesn't mandate us, if it's telling us that we should pay tithes or we should not pay tithes, is there a place that says the opposite? Not really. Actually, in Matthew 23:23, Jesus rebuked the Pharisees for the sin of omission. They neglected things that were equally important to God, just as their tithes. Jesus never condemned them for paying their tithes, but he used that as a reference point, further proving that it was acceptable and should be done. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone." Furthermore, friends, this is what God is telling you. He's telling you that you should pay tithes, that you should not omit anything. He didn't say that you shouldn't pay the tithes. If you want the blessings of Abraham in your life, you need to do what Abraham did. Furthermore, if you take a look in Luke 18, verse 12, there's a parable that Jesus is telling of a Pharisee. And the Pharisee looked up and said, "Well, God, I fast twice in the week, and I give tithes of all that I possess." This is to show you that even in the New Testament, you are to pay tithes. So we are under grace, right, friends? So therefore we are to pay our tithes. You're not to pay your tithes to a charity. You're not to pay your tithes to an organization. You're not to pay your tithes by giving it to some type of telemarketer. That is not what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to take it into the storehouse and pay what is right and due and acceptable unto God. God is telling you, bring it into my storehouse, that there might be meat, food, and I will bless you. I will bless you beyond your wildest imagination. Do you think that God blessed Abraham because he was doing nothing? Abraham understood this principle, and he passed it on to his generations that came on after him. And if indeed you are the seed of Abraham, if you're singing that song, that you are an heir of Abraham, that you are his seed, that you come from his lineage, then you will do what he did. You will follow in his footsteps. You will follow in his footsteps. And when you go back to the book of Malachi 3:10 through 12, you will find there's 7 blessings of tithing, 7 blessings. And we all know that 7 is the number of completion. 7 blessings. Let's take a look at it. It says, if I will not open up the windows of heaven, that's to tell you that God is promising you. Do what I'm telling you to do, my child. Do it. Just try me. And see if I will not open up the window of heaven. And he says, number 2, that if I open up the window, I'm going to pour out a blessing, that there will be no room to receive it. Overflowing blessings, overflowing blessings. The 3rd is that I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, That pest, I'm going to rebuke it. 4, he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground. The fruits of your ground, the fruits of your labor, he will not destroy it. How you work hard, he will not destroy it. The 5th one, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts. 6, and all the nations shall call you blessed. And 7, for you shall be a delightsome land, saith the Lord of hosts. Friends, I implore you, I beg you, to pay your tithes to the Lord. Give God what is his. If you can give Uncle Sam what is his, if you can allow them to take taxes out of your paycheck, then you can give God what is due to him. Stop being stingy with paying your tithes, and stop being greedy for asking God's blessings if you're not doing what he's asking you to do. Because if you did what he's asking you to do, you wouldn't have to beg for the blessings. It will just overflow, because that's what his word tells us in Malachi 3. God doesn't lie to us. He tells us the truth. You do what I'm telling you to do, then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. I beg of you, friends, that you will do the right thing and pay your tithes. And the 7 blessings of tithing, it will be your portion in Jesus' name. I hope this message has blessed you. Go in peace, and I'll speak with you on the next one.
Thank you for tuning into This Faith Thing with Adeola. Please head on over to the website at thisfaiththing.com to find the show notes and everything mentioned inside of this podcast. I pray that you have been blessed. Go in peace, and I will see you in the next episode. God bless you.